Another school district finds lead in the water inside its school buildings. We have a copy of the results from Pittsford tonight.
The district says it found elevated levels of lead in all but 4 buildings. This is just one of the districts throughout our area to voluntarily test their water following the lead crisis in Flint, Michigan.
You know, when you send your children to school, you assume that they will be safe and healthy while they're there. Well, we found out there's no state requirement for schools to do those tests. In tonight's New York State Exposed report, Amanda CIAVARRI asks lawmakers why not. Amanda joins us now.
Well, Janet and Jen, drinking the proper amount of water is something we're told to do every day. But after recent reports questioning the quality of water in places like our schools, we wanted to know why it is that the state doesn't require school districts to make sure the water your children are drinking is safe.
If the state isn't mandated to check the water, they're not helping you protect your kids.
Kim BARNELLO says that as a mother, she wants to make sure her children are safe all the time. And at school, where kids spend most of their day, that's no exception.
Always tell them to be aware of their surroundings, but then how can you tell them, oh, watch out for the water? It's not, you can't always see it.
Here in Monroe County, the water supply itself is required to be tested for multiple things, including lead. And environmental experts say we have some of the cleanest drinking water in the world. However, old pipes, fountains, and faucets in local schools, those don't have to be tested. Recently, after reports of elevated levels of lead in drinking water at schools in Brighton and Penfield, local districts started voluntarily testing, and those tests came back positive for multiple districts.
There are 7 in instructional spaces.
I sat down with the Penfield School Superintendent, Thomas PUTNAM, after positive results for lead came back at the Cobbles Elementary School.
Do you think that there should be a New York State requirement and maybe some funding to help you with this that would test the water more regularly?
We already deal with quite a lot of unfunded or underfunded mandates from the state that then impact our taxpayers. So this is something we should be doing, and funding from the state, if they're going to require it, I think is important.
So why is it that New York State doesn't require school districts to test their water for lead? We came here to Albany to take that question to the chair of the Assembly's Health Committee.
What are we doing here in Albany to make this more regulated so that schools have to do this so we know exactly what's in the water for these children?
Well, it's really troubling seeing all these cases emerging, because I think a lot of us were thinking, didn't we deal with the whole lead issue 20 or 30 or 40 years ago? Why is this happening? And I think that's a very good question, and I don't know the answer.
Assemblyman Richard Godfrey is the chair of the Health Committee and says that they're drafting legislation that would require regular water testing for places like schools and daycares.
Do you think this is something we'll be able to get done by the end of this session?
I think we've got a very good shot at getting something resolved this session.
I think it should definitely be required by state just to protect the children. I mean, their education, their essential livelihood is connected with lead in their bloodstream. It'll affect them when they're older.
And as you just heard, that bill is currently being written. If you'd like to see the bill finished and signed into law quicker, you can reach out to Assemblyman Godfried at his Albany office. That number is on your screen right now. It is 518-455-4941. And Jen and Janet, that Albany office is really the best place to reach him right now, because that's where they are with the session going on.
Right. We're hearing about the districts that are voluntarily testing.
Yes.
Do they have an obligation to share the results?
No, they don't. And we have heard about some sharing those results to us, like Penfield and Brighton and Pittsford today. But when we found out the districts don't have to share the results, we put in a request in to each district to get the results if any of those tests have been completed. And as soon as we get those answers back from the districts, we of course will share them with all of our viewers.
Absolutely. Very interesting. Amanda, thank you for that report.